You'll recall that the last time I showed you the Orion chassis while it was powered on, that it gave off a quite loud hum through its speaker. Now I'm going to hunt down the mistake, or faults I should say, in the chassis, and well, logically speaking, the first things you should always check are the obvious and the simplest ones. In this case, I'm going to check first of all if all the tubes are still good. Now, we know from the previous episode that the EZ80 rectifier tube, which is this one over here, was gassy. Well, the original one at least was gassy. And I replaced it with the one you see now, that one over there. And that one seems to function normally. Now, I can't be sure, of course, until I measure them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put each of these tubes into my tube tester and see whether they are good or not. Okay, well, the tally is not so good. I tested all 5 tubes which were on the chassis, and in fact 2 are good, the 2 on the left are good, and which is an EZ80, that's the rectifier tube, and then one of the ECH81s, which is a pentode, is also still good. The other 3 tubes, which one is an ECH81, then there's an EBF80, and then there's an EL84, which is also pentode. Well, they are bad. And how do I know they are bad? Well, by testing them, obviously. And just to show you how I found out that they are bad, I'm just going to show you for one, which is the EBF80, which you see in the socket here. So let's see now. I need to test for shorts, and I'm reading the table specifications. So it's a type filament D. Okay, it's on filament D. Then it's the triangular type, yes. It's on socket 1, yes. What else? And then it consists of 3 parts, the EBF80. Namely, if I'm not mistaken, 2 diodes and a triode, if I'm not mistaken. So, but anyway, the tube is bad, so I just want to show you how I found out about the shorts. Anyway, so as you can see here, there is a short position. So let's switch it on now. Okay, so you see it's powered, and if I'm not mistaken, yes, the filament is glowing. You can see the filament glow. Okay, so what I need to do now is go through all the positions here, and on the table is written that I should disregard position 5. Position 5 being there. Yeah. So what you should look for is on all positions of this selector, except position 5, this light should stay off. It's okay if it flashes for a very short while, yeah, so if it just flashes as I switch over the selector switch here, then that's okay. But if it stays on permanently and the position is not position 5, then it's bad. Okay, so here we go. Watch the little light as I turn the selector switch. So first TC, nothing. Position 9, nothing. 8, 7, 6, 5. Okay, it stays on. But that's okay. I can disregard that. Okay, so 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Well, that's typical. Now it measures okay. Okay, so let's do it again. So we're on position 1 now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you can see, it's on position 5. Okay, so I can disregard that. So now we go on. 6, 7, 8, 9, DC. Strangely enough, the tube now tests without any shorts, which is weird, because when I tested it, it tested a short. It tested shorted. Okay, so let's see one more time, just for safe measures. Okay, position 5, I can disregard. 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, okay. So now it tests good, which is rather peculiar, but okay. Fine. So now, since it consists of 3 parts, we have to test each of the 3 parts. So the first part to test, I should put the selector on 2. And all the other things are set, the sensitivity is set to 30. Okay, let's go ahead and test it. Well, okay, that isn't too good. As you can see, the meter is well in the bad region. Okay, it's slowly climbing, and maybe if I wait long enough, it'll climb barely into the green region, so the good region. But, well, it's dodgy. So let's test the other part then. So now I should put the selector on 7. Okay, so let's put it in short mode first. So selector on 7, and they say sensitivity on 100. Okay, there you go. Okay, let's test. Ha! Nothing at all. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, it barely registers. Okay, so that's not too good. So back in short position, and now I should put the selector on hang on, the selector on 8. Okay, so here we go. Barely better. So in fact, this is bad. Okay, so that tube is really not good. So, considering that the tubes that I tested are either shorted or measure bad, like this EBF80, it's almost logical that the radio produces nothing but hum. Or at least it's quite probable that these bad tubes are the source of the hum. So I need to find out now if I have replacement tubes in my stash. So give me a minute. I found quite a few tubes in my stash to replace the 3 defective ones. Although I did find a tube which is called a UBF80. Now it turns out that the UBF80 and the EBF80 that was originally on the chassis are connection-wise the same. So it's a pentode and 2 diodes. Now, unfortunately for me, the UBF80 has a different filament. Its filament works with 17 volts and 100 milliamps, whereas the EBF80, which is this one, which happens to be a tungsram, so the EBF80 has a filament of 6.3 volts, 300 milliamps. So although the connections inside the tube are identical, the heater is not. So unfortunately I will have to reuse the old EBF80 to test the chassis as bad as it is. But well, let's say I'm fortunate in the sense that it doesn't have any shorts. It's just very incredibly weak. So, well, I'd be astonished I would get anything out of the chassis with it, but for testing purposes it will do. Now, as to the other tubes, the ECH81 and the EL84, which happens to be the amplification tube, I found a number of replacements in my stash. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to test these tubes and pick a good one to use on the chassis. Once I'm done with finding, let's say, a usable tube, is that I'll repopulate the chassis and then fire it up again. Okay, I repopulated the chassis with the tubes I found, and well, with one of the 2 EL84s I found in my stash. Now, mind you, the EL84s had a sort of a dubious reading. They are either they have a short or they don't, but it's unclear. So the tester, or rather the light in the tester that signals shorts, was lighting up, but very faintly. So in a position where it's not supposed to be lighting at all. So is there a short? Isn't there? It's kind of difficult to tell. And also the EBF80, which is this one. Now I just put some paper around it to prevent these wires to hit the tube while it is functioning. This EBF80 measures really poorly. Well, you saw it yourselves when I tested it in my tube tester. So it's highly unlikely that the radio will work. But we can give it a shot anyway. I mean, what is there to lose? And anyway, I have it on my Variac, so if need be, I can always switch it off either there or with its own switch. Okay, so I set my Variac on around 100 volts AC. Remember, this is a chassis which is set to 220 AC. Okay, so yeah, well, let's go ahead and okay, the pilot light functions, so that's a good sign, as you can see. Now, as for the filaments, no, I'm not seeing any filaments, but neither am I smelling anything burning or am I seeing anything which smokes or anything. So let's pull up the voltage to 220. Okay, and now the filaments are all starting to glow, as you can see for yourselves. Okay. So it's still humming. Well, I kind of expected it with one tube which measures almost nothing and the other of a dubious nature. Well, I can hear some crackling, but that's it. Okay, let's try another band. No. No. No, it's not doing anything really. Okay, so let's try with the other EL84 just in case. Okay, give me a moment to switch tubes. Okay, I inserted the other EL84 over there, that one. So, well, let's see if we can get something out of the radio now. There's still a loud hum. Huh. But nah, it isn't doing much. Let's see if we set the antenna in the other plug. Okay. No. No. It's a bit disappointing, I have to say, but no, even if I listen carefully at the hum, I can't hear anything coming through the hum. So it's not as if the hum is masking anything, or maybe it is. Maybe the humming is really too loud to hear anything. I mean, to hear anything sensible. Okay, so I think we can stop the experiment for now. It's clear that changing a few of the tubes didn't have the result that we hoped it would have. The search continues, and I'll have to hunt down a EBF 80 and an EL84, because it's quite clear that at least those two tubes are not up to standard. So yeah, I'll need to hunt down those tubes. So unfortunately, I will have to call it a day for now, and we'll continue with the chassis as soon as I have replacement tubes. Until then, I'll continue with either one of my other projects or the cabinet of the Orion. So thanks for watching, and until next time.